In the year 2014, the U.S. Air Force admits they can control the weather. By 2017, that reality hits home.
Take the red pill.
Hey everyone, Red Pill here. I got a chance to sit down early today. Just want to show you this start here. This afternoon, the Category 5 storm, dubbed extremely dangerous by the National Hurricane Center, was battering the Caribbean, destroying about 90% of the structures and vehicles on Barbuda Island. Barbuda, officials said. The storm has sustained winds of 185 miles per hour and even higher gusts. In St. Martin and St. Bartholomew, at least 2 people have died and at least 2 others were seriously wounded, according to a spokesperson for France's Ministry for its overseas territories. At least 1 person died in Barbuda, where there is widespread damage, said blah blah blah. Okay, this is getting bad. Okay, if you're in Florida, listen to this report. I'm going to go over this for you. I'm going to show you some news reports. I'm going to reiterate, just like in my last video, I'm going to ask you, if you're in Florida and you can, get out. Please get out. Don't try to sit this one out. This is not going to be easy. Look at this. This is just right now, as I'm doing this report. These are the pictures that are coming in from Barbuda or Puerto Rico. It's not going to be good. Okay? So let's take a look at Venture Sky here. Venture Sky right here at 8 o'clock Eastern. San Juan has been just getting pummeled by this storm. Okay, these are the winds at 1500. That's 10. Oh, that's 10 meters above ground. 1500 meters above ground. It's all over the place. Okay, this is today. All right, at 11 o'clock tonight. This is where the storm will be. It'll be leaving. It'll be leaving the San Juan area, and it's going to be heading into the Santo Domingo, Santiago area. So you still have time before this thing gets to Florida. Look, it's not even going to get there until the 9th. So it's not going to be good. You're battening down the hatches and everything. It's not going to work. There's going to be storm surge. They're saying they're expecting storm surge waves from anywhere from 4 to 10 feet high along the coasts. Okay, this thing, look how much wider it is than the state, and they're saying now that it's going to go straight up the state. Let's go on the 10th. Okay. It doesn't matter even if it doesn't go up to center. It's still going to engulf the entire state. You just need to get out of there. If you live in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, just get out. You know, if you want to pack 3 days worth of food, that's not going to be enough. You know, this storm is going to pass through. You're going to be abandoned for more than 3 days. I'm just saying, just get out of there. You don't want to be near this wreckage. Anyway, let's take a look at some of these reports.
Good morning, I'm Lindsay Janis coming to you live from Puerto Rico, where we are awaiting Hurricane Irma. I want to tell you what this hurricane's been doing overnight first. It has been bearing down on the Caribbean island of St. Martin. People there are being told not to go outdoors under any circumstances. We have been speaking with Americans Holly Morris and Lauren Mayo. They're fitness bloggers on a health retreat there. They're on the 6th floor of a villa. They're holed up there. They describe the sound of the howling winds like the sound of a freight train going through a building. They say the waves and the rain is so powerful, it's actually coming through the windows and flooding their rooms. So very scary situation there. We also have gotten some crazy pictures just in the last few minutes from St. Bart's. Cars floating in the street, the result of a massive storm surge. So Hurricane Irma next is going to head to the U.S. and British Virgin Islands this afternoon, and then it's expected to arrive here in Puerto Rico later on this evening. We're already getting a little bit of wind here and some rain this morning, but the full effect is supposed to come just a little bit later on this evening. I want to bring in my colleague Josh Hoyos because he has been listening to the governor's press conferences. He's been speaking to the people here every few hours in Spanish, and you've been translating for us and paying attention. So what did he say just this morning?
So at this point, we know that 700 people are now in over 150 shelters throughout the island of Puerto Rico, mainly northeastern portions of the island that were actually under an evacuation warning. Local media has been warning people that the sun that's barely coming out today and the relatively calm winds, albeit considered what we're about to see later tonight, should be not a point that makes people think. Don't be fooled by what's about to happen. By the end of the evening, the entire island will be seeing tropical storm force winds. I mean, Irma will be 35 miles off this coast right here. It's incredibly startling to see an island that has not experienced a hurricane of this magnitude in nearly 100 years.
And he's warning anybody that lives near a beach now to go inland. And
everyone needs to move inland. If you live near a beach, you need to move. Anyone who's in a low-lying area needs to move. Anyone who could potentially be in danger at risk needs to move at this moment. It's too late to think that you could board up your home and sort of hunker down.
Yeah, his press conferences have been nothing short of a little alarming, meant to get people to act. He has said things like the time to act is now. It could be a life or death decision. The time is running out to act. So people have been doing things like stocking up on water. We've been to grocery stores and seen empty shelves. People have been getting food, batteries, gasoline. We've been doing things ourselves here at the hotel where we're staying, like filling up our bathtubs in case the power goes out, so we've got some water, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yesterday we were doing a quick supply run and we stopped by at a Walmart that was entirely out of stock on water. They were barely in stock on bread. Certain food items were completely gone. I mean, basic essentials that people probably thought they didn't need to buy. They thought that this storm would stay off the coast and would not get to this island. It's here. That 24-hour mark yesterday, the governor said you have 24 hours. Your decisions in the next 24 hours will be a matter of life and death that you've been reporting. We've hit the 24-hour mark.
The time is coming here. Just in the next few hours, we're already starting to see the wind. But we spoke to that shopkeeper in Old San Juan yesterday, and he told us that, that people he didn't think were taking this very seriously, and his shelves were full. So some of the locals weren't taking it seriously, but he said they were starting to come in, and they were starting to really take it seriously. But this island has not seen a major storm like this, a major hurricane, a Category 5 since 1928.
1928
so
was the last time.
So you can't blame people for being a little bit complacent.
No, you can't. And the island has seen hurricanes come through the years. There have been a couple in many people on this island's lifetime. Nothing like a Category 5. Nothing with winds of 180 miles an hour with gusts of over 200. I mean, it's sort of hard to even fathom that 35 miles off this beach, that we've been
Category 5 storm.
We've been seeing sandbagging happening right behind you all through the morning. They're making sandbags.
This hotel has been all hands on deck for, more than a day here. We have seen them carrying in furniture, tying down everything loose, trying to keep people off the beach. There are a lot of tourists that are stranded here that couldn't get back to the U.S. or wherever they were going, so they're here to ride out the storm as well. And this hotel, by all accounts, sounds like it's very prepared. There's a backup generator here. Power is a big concern. The director of the power company came out today. What did he talked about vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerability is going to be key. At the moment, 90% of the island subscribers to energy still have power. Sort of crazy that at this point 10% of the nation is already lacking power. Right. We've only had wind at this point. Remote parts of the island may not see power for up to 8 months.
That's incredible.
Parts of San Juan, parts of populated areas of Puerto Rico may lose power for up to a week. I mean, there is that firm belief that people need to be prepared for something catastrophic.
And the governor also said today that most of the deaths that happen in hurricanes like this are the result of floods. So there's going to be storm surge, 3 to 5 feet, difficult to predict at this point, but that storm surge together with the rain that's going to come down, we could see some life-threatening flash flooding.
And the big concern, of course, not only for residents and tourists who are here, It's also for emergency service workers. I mean, once winds hit 50 miles an hour, gusts of over 60,
it's hard for them to get to people.
They've essentially said that they will no longer rescue people. It's too dangerous.
So now let's take a look at this in Google Earth. Okay, you can see it's completely covered San Juan. San Juan is buried in this storm, and it is a Category 5. And I'm going to measure this storm across again from arm to arm. So go from the outside arm to the outside arm. Holy crap. Even if I don't go all the way out there, just right about here. This storm is now a Category 5 and it's 720 miles wide. This thing is freaking huge, people. Look at that.
Now to the Florida Keys, where they're starting mandatory evacuations this morning. The chain of islands at the southern tip of the state is home to 80,000 residents and a destination, as you know, for thousands of tourists. ABC's Gio Benitez is there on the only road in and out of the Keys. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Robin, good morning to you. You said it. There are mandatory evacuations for visitors in place right now, started at sunrise. I want you to take a look at this because this is the reason why those evacuations are already in place. You see all this water here? We are at the water's edge. But walk with me because I want to show you this. We are also at the road's edge. This is the overseas highway right here. You can see people already getting out of here. This is the only way in, the only way out of the Florida Keys. And so this actually floods because on the other side of this, you have water too. I want you to take a look at some video shot earlier. This is a bird's eye view of this overseas highway. There is a reason why it's called the overseas highway. You've got water on both sides. I've seen storms come through here far less powerful than Irma, and they have flooded this place. It becomes very difficult to do anything then because now you're talking about only traveling in boats. So it is a very serious situation if this becomes flooded, Robin.
Key West, of course, also has an airport, Gio, but flights there have been canceled beginning tomorrow morning. The storm's not hitting until this weekend, so why so early? And are people concerned that that may be a way that people wanted to evacuate?
That's right. You know, they're actually closing it tonight after that last flight out, 5:50 p.m. takes you to Atlanta. That's the last flight out of here. They're doing it early, Robin, because as you know, residents here in the Keys like to stay put. They don't like to leave the Keys during storms. So what officials are saying is, listen, this is a very strong storm. Take it seriously and get out. I imagine that soon we're going to see a mandatory evacuation for residents too, Robin.
All right, Gio, thank you.
Right now in the Florida Keys, the evacuation is taking place. Currently, it's voluntary. Eventually, it's going to be mandatory. People are getting out now, and when it's early, they've only got a one-lane road, and that one-lane road is called the Overseas Highway. That's what it's called. That one-lane road runs completely over the ocean, out back up to Florida. So when this storm hits, it's going to drown out that road. Store shelves are empty in Miami. There's a rush on for gas. They've got long lines. Obviously, when they run out of gas and groceries, no one's going to be bringing it back in until the storm passes. Pumps are drying up. There's a shortage on water. They're saying you should have a 3-day supply of food and water for a shelter-in-place scenario. I'm saying just get the heck out of there. Like I said before, there are going to be storm surges, which means you're going to see waves in front of the storm hitting the shore at least 4 to 10 feet in size. Now, if that hits any of the houses or structures, that's it. They're going to be bombarded and torn down. So, this isn't going to be good. Now, I also want you to think about, if you haven't heard about it, and learn from Harvey. Okay, people that have been in the water, they're absorbing high levels of aluminum. Pregnant women are going to have complications with their children when they're born. People are going to get sick later on. E. coli is in the water. There's raw sewage in the water. You're looking at the same scenario in Florida if you stay around and you start wading around in that water. There's going to be disease everywhere, and it may not hit you right away, but it's going to hit you eventually. So it's just not worth it. It's not worth the risk. You're better off just getting out until the damage is done and cleaned up, or coming back when the waters recede. That's all I'm saying.
Joining us now from Tallahassee is the governor of Florida, Rick Scott. Governor Scott, thank you so much. I know it's a very busy day for you. Earlier this week, you declared a statewide emergency. What are you most concerned with, sir, at this hour?
Well, I want every Floridian to be as aggressive as we are. We're aggressive preparing. I want every Floridian to be aggressive. We don't know exactly where this is going to hit. Just as likely it's going to hit Fort Myers and Naples as it is Miami. The Keys, the Florida Keys are already evacuating. We've got wind, we've got rain, and we've got storm surge. This is a massive storm. Water could cover your house. So I want everybody to understand the importance of this. This is bigger than Andrew. Andrew, we just had the 25th anniversary. This is bigger than Andrew. It will have more storm surge than Andrew, and it sure looks like it's going to barrel right down in the middle of the state of Florida.
And many of us certainly do remember Hurricane Andrew, and for you to say that really means something. We have heard reports of gas stations running out of fuel. How dire is the situation, and what is being done, Governor?
We're working with our retailers for food, water, and for gas to make sure that we have all those resources. We're asking everybody in our state to get a plan. Right now, we don't believe we have any shortages, but if your store's out of water, they'll be restocking soon. The same with non-perishable food. And the same if you're going to a gas station, they're bringing in more gas. So we don't see any widespread shortages, and we don't believe we're going to have them right now. I'm asking everybody, as you get prepared, 3 days of water per person, 3 days of food. Take enough, but take only what you need. Don't take more. So we make sure we take all of our neighbors. But let's all remember, we can rebuild your home. We can't rebuild your life. Take care of your, prepare and take care of your family. Be aggressive. We are at the state level.
That is great advice there. And are you concerned? There are some mandatory evacuations in the Keys, others voluntary at this moment. Are people complying?
Well, as you see right now, people are leaving the Keys. We'll start seeing more evacuations. Miami-Dade already started to do their special needs individuals today, and they'll be doing more. So as we see the storm getting closer, there'll be more mandatory evacuation around the state. Listen to your locals. Listen to them, and just remember, this could be an unbelievable storm surge. We're talking about water that could be 10 feet, can go over your house, can go farther inland. This is way bigger than Andrew. A lot of people remember Andrew was not a big storm surge storm. This could be much worse. So, and it's both coasts right now. It's right up the middle of the state. So everybody's got to be prepared. You can't rely just on government. Everybody's got to be prepared.
Good to know how proactive that you are being, and of course you have to prepare for the worst, and we are all, though, praying for the best possible outcome. Governor Rick Scott, thank you very much for your time this morning. You take care.
Thank you, Robin. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now just as a frame of reference, let's move over from the storm here. And let's measure the width of Florida, if we can remove the clouds here. All right, so on the widest point of Florida, 159 miles. Okay. How long is Florida? From tip to border, 387 miles. Do you see the perspective here? That storm can completely cover Florida. It can completely cover parts of Georgia from border to border here along just this line where we think it's going to hit. 237 miles. That's a 720 mile long storm. Okay, so let's go 720 miles right there. That's how big this storm is. You do not want to be in the way of this thing. I'm saying get out.
Let's go back to Ginger for more on that Florida threat.
And I thought it was so great. He was talking about impacts across the state. You could see inland flooding from Tampa up to, say, Orlando, anywhere throughout the state of Florida, even into the Carolinas eventually. But storm surge, just as the governor was saying, a huge deal. We wanted to give you an idea of what it may look like. So storm surge comes from water piling up
in and in front of a storm. As it approaches land, approaches some of those coastal towns and homes, you see how quickly the water can overtake and actually even move from the foundation some of those homes. All it takes is 4 to 6 feet in some cases, depending on what the elevation is. And we know that Miami floods easily. So we just did a worst case scenario here with storm surge to give you an idea of who would be flooded. If you had a 3-foot plus storm surge, you'd see those areas in yellow start to go underwater. You have it higher than that, and we start to see the areas in red go under. So this is a lot of Miami Beach. It's a lot along the coast and a lot around some of those low-lying areas. George, we're going to be seeing this in the next coming days and have details on more of the impacts and that inland flooding.
Remember, the truth is out there waiting to be found. Wake up, take the red pill, join the red pill info war. Break the matrix, free your mind.